All right, sorry for being a little late. Want to welcome everybody here. It's in person and also watching online. The last week was Assistant Principal Week, Recognition Week, and I wanted to, on behalf of the board, honor all of our assistant principals who do such wonderful work. Didn't get a chance to tell you that last week, so I appreciate that. And that's it. At this moment, we'll rise for a moment of silence and then the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Jill, will you take roll, please?
Ms. Dougherty. Mr. Fox.
Here.
Ms. Guilford. Here. Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Ms. Metzler.
Here.
Mr. Norris.
Here.
Ms. Peck. Here. Mr. Rossi.
Here.
Mr. Trotty.
Here.
9 present, 0 absent.
All right, terrific. This is the opportunity for visitors' comments for agenda items. If anybody has any discussion on the agenda? Seeing none, this takes us to the presentations and the strategic roadmap. It's all yours.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you everybody who's here tonight. And this looks like a pretty extravagant dinner party we're going to have. But so we have been actively engaged in developing this strategic roadmap for the better part of 6 months, I would say. And pretty much everybody in this room, and to some degree or another, has been involved in this, and all of our staff have had an opportunity to engage in this pretty deeply. So I just want to start by just sharing appreciation for everybody's efforts. The presentation we're going to try to today name in about 35 minutes, which is no small task, but we're going to try to be brief. And we've invited some folks today here, as you can see, who are going to share their kind of informal and authentic perspective. I think it's on, right? Good? Oh, yeah. On each of these areas that we're going to speak to. So we have distributed a copy of the presentation, which you'll see, and also a copy of the full strategic roadmap in the 6 areas. But I'm going to kick us off, and I'm going to share briefly just a few things about kind of setting the table for all of our presenters tonight. So we'll begin quickly with a purpose of the strategic roadmap and also the process we took to arrive at where we are today. As you can see on the slide in the presentation, there are 6 areas, and then each area will take just a couple minutes to share about essentially the key components of it, how we're going to measure success, and some of the key things we're going to do over the next 5 years. And then we're going to talk about how we're going to communicate the plan and how it will move forward year to year. And finally, we'll open up for any discussion or questions from the board. Foremost, as you can see on the slide here, the strategic roadmap serves as our continuous improvement plan and helps to align resources, staffing, professional development over the next 5 years in a very strategic way. The process we took began really with collecting feedback from the community. This actually started even before I got here, even before we formed a lot of our administrative team. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. That led to the development of a draft of the strategic roadmap and the 6 areas that ended up becoming the areas that we're working on. From there, we provided the staff with an opportunity to engage in those 6 areas in a rotation model to provide feedback. And then that feedback was collected from all 4 of the buildings through staff meetings. And notations and feedback were posted in a common area for several weeks. And then we made edits and additions to that plan based on that feedback. A final version was shared with everyone again with a survey for additional feedback, which has led us to tonight's presentation. That's kind of the process in a very short nutshell. One example, you may recognize this, is when the IU led the board through a search process for superintendent. They identified 9 key areas. You'll notice that some of these areas present themselves in the strategic roadmap, specifically in the area of achievement and discipline, student behavior, and essentially communication and other things. You'll notice they come from these 9 areas as well. When we shared those 9 areas and other things with the staff at the start of the school year, they had an opportunity to share what improvement areas they see as relevant and topical for the school district. And you can see that list to the right. These were areas that the staff felt were important for us to focus on. So collectively, this feedback led to, again, that draft. You may recognize those posters that were in 102 that went through that rotational model. and then staff had an opportunity for final feedback through a survey link. At the end of the day, those areas created essentially these 6 key areas. 1, culture of achievement. 2nd, implementation of MTSS. 3rd, student behavior and discipline, followed by safety and security, facilities and capital plan, and a charter school plan. And for tonight, we're actually, again, going to share the privilege and the burden of sharing each of these components. So for culture of achievement, we're welcomed today by Carly Murphy and Kelly Hullab. They're going to start us off in just a minute. Following them, Chris Schultz, our Director of Curriculum Instruction, and Katie McGinnis, our special ed teacher from the PLC, will follow. From there, John Proper, OHS principal, and Allison Hallman, teacher of Spanish and also our OAEA president, will talk about student behavior and discipline. Then Matt Bristow, our Director of Safety and Security, and Brenton Brady, our assistant principal at the middle school, will talk about safety and security. And then we'll move to Mike, our Chief Financial Officer, and Denise Scheffler, our head custodian at the PLC. And then finally, we'll finish with Dana, our Director of Communications, and Beth Petit was also going to join us tonight, but she was unable at the last minute to talk about our charter school plan. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Carly and Kelly to talk about the achievement culture.
Hi, everyone. I'm Carly Murphy. I'm a 6th grade ELA teacher at Octorara Middle School. I'm also the coordinator of extended school year. I've been at Octorara for a little over 5 years now, and I'm just very grateful to be a part of this community. So achievement culture is specifically important to me because I really want to see our students succeed, and that starts with their academics. So the vision behind the achievement culture plan is to increase our growth in ELA, in math, and in science. And we want to do that by looking at our MTSS structure, our Tier 1 instruction, and making sure that everyone in the community has ownership, that all stakeholders, parents, community members are involved in students really making sure that they achieve. So with Tier 1 instruction, we want to make sure that it's rigorous across ELA, math, and science. I think that we're really doing that well right now, specifically in ELA. As an ELA teacher, we've adopted the Amplify curriculum, K through 8th, and I have seen so much growth in our students already just by having that central curricula for all of those students. When we look at data over the course of the next 5 years, we want to continue to increase our student achievement throughout PSSAs in ELA, math, and science, as well as making sure that we're allocating resources where they need to go and students get the support that they need. And overall, we just want to make sure that students are able to achieve great things, and I think that we can do that together.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Hullab. I have been a member of the Octorara community for 20 years now and have been privileged to teach in the Octorara School District for 13 years. I also am a parent of 2 Octorara students. My son graduated in 2024, and my daughter will graduate at the end of this year. And I am a tutor at the Parksburg Point. So obviously I'm very invested in the Octorara School District, extremely passionate about our youth and their success. So I was really excited to be here tonight to talk specifically about the roles and responsibilities portion of the strategic map. And when I see the way that every role of every stakeholder is explicitly described, it really makes me, as a teacher, feel empowered to know we are coming together as a community, as building this achievement culture, and it really is powerful. For example, if you look at the superintendent role for Dr. Dukavich, he is our visionary. He's the driving force of this mission, and his job will be to unite us as a powerful system coming together. Then you look at my job as an English language learner assistant, or previously as a reading specialist, and my goal will be to reduce the gaps that we're seeing in achievement for our subgroups. Before I looked at this plan, if I saw the goals, I might have been a little overwhelmed, but as Carly said, there are going to be so many supports that we will have, between building a powerful MTSS to having a new developed schedule that will allow for intervention, and the support that we have amongst each other. I just feel really confident and empowered that we are going to see this student success. The other thing I absolutely love about the roles is that you can see how valuable every single stakeholder is. We have parents on there, we have community members, and as a volunteer at the Parksburg Point, I just know how valuable that type of encouragement and support for our students is. So again, I just really, I feel so confident that this is a really powerful system that we're building together. Yeah, I'm just so excited to see these students flourish and achieve and have growth and success. Thank you.
That brings us to MTSS. Good evening. My name is Katie McGinnis. I'm a learning support teacher at the OPLC, so I work with the K1 and 2 students. This is my 3rd year working at the OPLC. It is a place like no other. It's a very, very special building to work in. It's unlike other schools that I have been in previously in Pennsylvania. MTSS is extremely important to the job that I do. So I work with special education students, but I also work with students in need of tier supports very early in their educational journey. It's not just tier supports for their academics, like tier 3 in reading or tier 2 in math. They also have needs behaviorally, if they're in need of a behavior intervention plan, or more in-depth relationship building, such as like a check-in, check-out procedure with a dependable staff member. It's also social emotional development, which is extremely important in the early grades, but throughout 12th grade as well, that these students have the supports that they need. The MTSS procedures, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, is extremely important that we look at not only the students with the greatest needs, but across the entire grade level. Making sure that students have what they need to be successful academically, social, emotionally, and behaviorally as well.
Thank you, Katie. My name is Chris Schultz, Director of Curriculum and Instruction. And looking at this slide here with our vision and benchmarks, it represents our commitment to a viable system of support for every student in our district. We're not looking for just a short-term fix, but something that we're committed to in a 5-year roadmap. The benchmarks will help us measure our success, and using that longitudinal data, that's how we can zone in on student achievement. For the key actions, to reach these 5-year goals, we're standardizing the how by implementing MTSS with fidelity. We ensure that whether a student's in kindergarten or in 12th grade, the language, the programming, the data protocols, they're equivalent across the board. For moving away from just building level silos into more of a cross-build in the community, it means that students are able to move from the elementary to the middle to the high school, and their support plan moves with them. Finally, the roles and responsibilities. That's really where the action takes place, and we can see very clearly from the superintendent to the community who's responsible and what they're responsible for. So at the leadership level, we're providing the vision and the resources. At the building level, they're using those standardized tools to monitor the health of our tiers 1, 2, and 3 supports. And then for our staff and community, they know where to go and a clear map of who to talk to and to seek help when they need it. So next up, I have John and Allison.
Good evening, everyone. John Perper, high school principal. When it comes to student behavior and discipline, the mission or the vision of Octorara School District is to create a safe, supportive, and engaging learning environment where all of our students are equipped with the skills necessary to succeed. To get there, we're going to focus on some key actions, the first being establishing clear and consistent behavioral expectations across all schools. I feel like we're already a little bit of ahead of the curve on that for each of the buildings, as all of the buildings follow 3 basic tenets of being safe, being responsible, and being respectful. As you walk in the multipurpose room, you'll see a matrix very similar to this that's employed by the middle school. This is the high school one, and other buildings incorporate such expectations for our students as well, which we review with students each and every year. We also want to use data to understand the trends in our discipline, the types of infractions that are being committed, who's committing them, and are there things that we can do to be preventative? What types of supports can we employ, particularly through the tiered system? Lastly, we're embedding restorative and responsive practices. You may have heard about restorative practices. What does that mean? What does that look like? And it really comes down to building relationships with students, having honest conversations with students to get them to understand the impact that their behavior choices have, not only on themselves, but on the school at large. We want to have a logical consequence for that, and then we ultimately want to have a discussion with them to make it restorative, to restore that relationship that's been broken between them and whoever they've affected. And that's the most important piece. I said lastly, but one last thing was continuing to build our staff's capacity through professional development. One of the things that we're doing at the high school in creating a more positive environment is we're doing a book study this year on positivity and the environment that we can create for our students. So to talk a little bit more about that and others, I'm going to turn over to Allison.
I'm Allison Hallman, a Spanish teacher of 10 years here, and this is my second year as the OAEA president. As John was saying, we build positive relationships with our students all day, every day. We can tell right away if a student's having a bad day or if they're having a good day, for that matter. Or if something's off, we can contact their families, or we can contact our student support teams here, like crisis teams, or STAT teams, MTSS, all the tiered systems that John was mentioning or Dr. Pope was mentioning. On top of that, you'll notice that the benchmarks include things like reducing office discipline referrals by 30% in 5 years and reducing suspensions by 40% in 5 years. But most importantly, making sure that at least 85% of our students and staff feel safe and respected in the learning environment at school. So a lot of the teacher responsibilities involve implementing all of the supports provided by the district, the PD, the training, the MTSS, all of those things with consistency. I think consistency or consistently is the key word there. I don't know if any of you became as obsessed as I was over the Artemis II lunar flyby launch mission recently, but Christina Cook, one of the astronauts, was talking about how a crew rows together and holds each other accountable. So our crew here is phenomenal, and we're going to hold each other accountable while we implement all of these key actions. And now I'll turn it over to Matt Bristow and Brenton Brady.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Matthew Bristow. I'm the Director of Safety and Security, and to my right is Brenton Brady, Assistant Principal of the Middle School. Tonight we are presenting our plan to strengthen safety and security in our school community. Our vision is simple but powerful: to create a safe, prepared, and caring school community where every student, staff member, and visitor feels protected, supported, and empowered to learn and thrive every day.
So to focus and achieve this vision, we're going to focus on 4 key areas. First area is reestablishing our committees and conducting needs assessment. This is going to help us, ensure that we understand exactly where we are and what we're doing and how we need to improve. The second area is at the building level. We all know that we can't do safety alone, so we want to increase our partnerships with, local law enforcement, our emergency responders, and our community partners. Again, focusing on safety is a big, I think, area for this plan. Our third area we want to focus on is strengthening and expanding our training, our drills, and our practices. This allows our staff and our teachers to be informed on what to do when something's happening and feel comfortable responding when something does happen. Fourth area we want to focus on is developing and implementing clear protocols and allocating our resources effectively. Again, this helps ensure our plans are not just ideas, but something that's actionable and sustainable. So we always want to make sure we have, systems in place no matter who's in the position.
Our goals: to measure success, we establish clear goals. A district-level safety committee will meet regularly to identify needs and drive improvements. We will have strong ongoing relationships with all relevant safety partners. We will implement and continuously evaluate critical safety plans, programs, and structures. We will use survey data from staff and students to monitor how safe our community feels and identify areas for growth.
So if you take a look at the slide, it's been benchmarked from year 1 to year 5. So our plan here is to design, we're trying to design ourselves for long-term success. That long-term being that 5-year mark being the peak. Year 1, which we're doing now, is establishing baseline data so we can measure our progress. Year 1 to 2, fully implementing safety committees. I know Mr. Bristow's been really strong on making sure our safety committees are meeting. Building level plans, and common practices, and also staff training from year 1 to 2. Year 2 to 3, expand and fully implement critical programs, including our threat assessments and safety management systems. Year 3 to 5, continuously monitor and improve using staff and student survey data to make sure our efforts are not going in vain and everyone is on board with the continuous improvement.
Safety is the foundation of everything we do. When students and staff feel safe, they can focus, grow, and succeed. This plan ensures that safety is not just a priority, but a shared responsibility, supported by strong systems, meaningful relationships, and continuous improvement. Thank you for your time, and at this time, I would like to introduce Mike and Denise.
Can we go? Sure. I'm Mike Stabill, I'm the CFO. I've been here since November. However, the next 18 months are going to be very busy, but exciting here at the district. We are working on three different companies. Snyder Electric, who is going to do potentially a HVAC, a chiller, and electrical upgrades for the middle school. Hopefully, we get some portion of the PA facility grants. We submitted over $15 million, actually $15.8 million. Everyone knows here that the HVAC and electrical is original, so it's 70 years old and it needs replaced, especially electrical. Without new electrical, we cannot update the chillers or the HVAC. Also, we're going to tie that in with EI Associates. They're currently doing a feasibility study, not just of the middle school, but all the district's buildings, to give us a game plan, which Denise will talk about a little bit later. And then possibly doing some cosmetic change to this building, new windows, flooring, roof, but a lot of that will be determined once we get our feasibility study and seeing how much that will cost. Also, next summer, we're going to do potentially phase 2 of the master plan, renovating the stadium, putting turf in there in the south field, and some other anemones. I can never get that word out. And some other small upgrades to that area. So there's going to be it's going to be extremely busy here for the next 18 months, but it'll be exciting because there's a lot of good changes here. How are we going to finance that? Number one, the PA facility grant. Hopefully we get some portion of that. Like I said, we submitted $15.8 million. Hopefully we get 2 to 3. Anything we can get from that grant will help reduce the amount of bonds we have to solicit in order to finance the rest of our project. How are we going to do that? With Raymond James, currently we have $50 million of bonds outstanding, which is a 6.4 annual bond payment that's broken up with interest and principal. By taking out $20 million in new debt, we can actually reduce our current bond payments by $600,000 to get down to $5.9 million per year, but it'll extend our debt for 4 years. So that's how we can finance and move forward with these 3 projects. Denise?
Yes, my name is Denise Schreffler. I am the head custodian at the PLC, and we're going to come up with a plan. Mike, me, Jim, and Tina going to walk around the buildings and see what we can do in the first year and what we can spend out for the 3 to 5 year plan, what we could do first, and then what we could do later down in the 3 to 5 year plan.
And along with the feasibility study by EI, they're actually going to help us develop a smaller project assessment for us for each building, so we can actually, as you know, with our own staff doing smaller projects, somewhere between the $10 to $20 million, and fix the problem while it's $10,000 to $20,000 instead of waiting in for a couple years when it goes over the $100,000. So we want to do a lot of preventive maintenance on our end. At this time, Dana?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Dana Groh, Director of Communications here at Octorara. A key focus of this plan is strengthening how we connect with families through intentional listening, clear communication, and consistent messaging. As part of this work, we've already begun a more targeted outreach, including a mailing to families currently enrolled in cyber and charter programs to reintroduce them to our district. We are also planning opportunities for direct engagement, including town hall style events designed to share what we have to offer and what makes our district unique, while also creating space for questions and feedback from families in our community. In addition, we will develop a dedicated webpage to serve as our central accessible resource for families to learn more about our programs and opportunities that we have here in our district. These efforts, along with more consistent storytelling across our communications, will help ensure families better understand the value that we do provide. Ultimately, with this work, it'll support enrollment and retention by strengthening awareness, building trust, and encouraging families to choose and return to our district. Thank you.
And in closing, I'm Audrey Flojo, I'm the Assistant Superintendent. Tonight, what you're seeing is more than a plan. It is a reflection of our community's voice, our staff's commitment, and our shared belief in what is possible for every child in Octorara. Because at the core of this work is a simple truth. Our kids can. The strategic roadmap is not owned by one person, one department, or one building. It is owned by all of us, because our kids can and do achieve when we work together. You heard what that looks like tonight. Carly and Kelly spoke about the culture of achievement. They are telling the story of classrooms where expectations are high and support is strong, because our kids can and do grow academically when challenged and engaged in rigorous learning. Chris and Katie discussed the MTSS implementation, a system designed so that every student gets what they need, because our kids can and do succeed when given the right supports, and I've seen Katie do that. John and Allison speak to student behavior and discipline. They are reinforcing that safe, structured, and supportive environments matter, because our kids can and do rise to expectations when we are consistent and united. Matt and Breton share our safety and security plan. They are ensuring that every student feels protected and ready to learn, because our kids can and do thrive when they feel safe. Mike and Denise present the facilities and capital planning. We see the investment in spaces that reflect pride and possibility, because our kids can and do achieve in environments that are built for their future. And Dana, speaking to our charter school plan, she's telling our story and strengthening our community, because our kids can and do belong right here in Octorara Area School District. Not one voice, but many. Not one role, but every role. Because there's no single lever that changes outcomes for kids. It is our teachers, it is our counselors, our social workers, our nurses, our psychologists, our mental health and behavioral staff, our support staff. It's our food and facilities teams. It's our administrators and office staff, principals and assistant principals, our families, our community, and most importantly, our students. All of us working together because our kids can. If we stay aligned to that belief, if we commit to continuous improvement, collaboration, and doing what's right for students, we will not just implement a plan, we will transform outcomes, because we believe it, because we will act on it, and because every day we will prove that our kids can. Thank you.
And I'll turn it right back over to Dana Groh to talk a little bit more about how we're going to communicate this plan going forward.
As you can see on the slide in front of you, we have built out a webpage that describes it in bite-sized pieces for people to digest what the plan is. It breaks it down to where our primary goals are, what year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 benchmarks are. That way you're able to see it broken down. And then we also have the full plan on the website as well, so that way you can download it and have access to it. First things first, we're gonna make that live. We have it hidden right now, but once it's live, you can have access to that, and then we will, I believe, send an email out to our staff and community and let them know that this is what's happening and this is what we're about to implement.
Thank you, Dana. Thank you to the entire panel and everyone for their contributions. That was fantastic. Just want to open up to any questions or discussion from the board, to any of our members.
Yeah, thank you. I just think it's important that we all commit to have, as you said earlier, have this be a living, breathing document that, not like the old comprehensive plans you just put on a shelf and no one ever dusts them off to even open them. We owe that to every one of our stakeholders. So I appreciate the effort that you all put into this. It's pretty impressive. So it's just beginning now, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody for presenting tonight. It's been a good overview of where we all want to take our students and their achievement. What I'm wondering is how we might use this and keep it front and center, so that as we have like ed committee updates, that we can have a topic like MTSS is like 40% of the meetings we touch on that maybe. So we could just keep that up there and say like, oh, and remember MTSS is part of our strategic roadmap. I'd just like to see us keep it front and center so that it's a touchstone that we keep coming back to. We're going to see capital improvements. We're going to see bond questions. We're going to see Schneider Electric. Thanks again, Stephen, for your presentation. But we're going to see these topics, and I think we just need to keep bringing it back to this so that it helps us prioritize. And how are we going to communicate? Like we communicate the plan, but then how do we make sure that, and I'm not looking for an answer tonight, but like how do we make sure that all the people that have roles and responsibilities, that I think you guys are all going to bake them into like annual plans and performance management processes, but like school board, you're going to have to keep, you're going to have to tell us, I saw a lot of resource this, which is the role, right? But we have to make sure that we're clear with people and then hold them to account. And it could be nice to see how we're doing. We've put a lot in year 1 to 5 where we have benchmarks across these different towers. How do we do against them? And if we're falling short, what do we need to do? Is it a resource thing? Is it a time constraint thing? Like, what is it that we could do as a board in order to be able to affect some of those measures? But I do really like it. I just want to see us use it and measure against it. But thank you again.
This is such great work, and I just appreciate you all being here. I mean, your level of commitment and passion for our students is something I've experienced firsthand from almost all of you, and I'm not surprised that you were willing to invest this time to come, but I really do appreciate it. Thank you. The student behavior and discipline, I'm really excited to see the student and staff survey. I don't know if that's new. I don't remember that before, but I think that seems like a great addition to not just looking to reduce referrals or reduce suspensions, but also getting that feedback from the community. I don't know if it's still to be determined how exactly to do that, if there's a way to do it anonymously to really open up the results, but I think that's a great addition, so thanks.
Say thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you, Dr. Sean, for all your work in getting this started and your commitment to excellence. So thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much again, everybody. You probably want to go home now and enjoy the rest of your evening, but just wanted to thank everybody again for their time. And to Mr. Fox's question and others, one of our next steps will be not only to communicate this and the webpage and other things, but also to establish what are our baseline data points in each of these 6 areas, so that as we give community updates, which will be regularly, we can go back to those and say, this is where we began, here's where we are now, here's where we're hoping to get to. And to your point, again, we need to point to these 6 areas with all decisions we make. It should become how we allocate resources, how we allocate staffing. And as we move forward, again, to your point, we navigate what's going well, what's not going well, and how can we course correct and calibrate as we go. So thank you, everybody, again. And we'll move on to the next agenda item.
Give them a minute.
How are we doing on time, Chris?
I want to especially commend John Proper, Dr. Proper, for keeping time.
All right, that takes us to the informational items. Is there any additional informational items? That's it. All right, the following are the recommended action items. I will need a motion and a second. We'll follow by discussion as we take each one of these up individually. Action item A, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve Ms. Crystal Whistler as a payroll specialist at a time to be determined pending completion of employee-related documents required by law in the district. Ms. Whistler's salary will be $57,040 prorated, replacing a resignation. May I get a motion? And a second? It's been motioned and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item passes. Action item B, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the resolution to request a public school facilities improvement grant for $5 million from the Commonwealth Finance Authority to be used for upgrades to the chiller plant for the Octorara Middle School. May I get a motion? So moved. And a second? Second. Moved and second. Is there any discussion? I'll just add, we discussed this this past Facilities Committee meeting, the need to separate these grants. All right, so all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Action item B passes. Action item C, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the resolution to request a public school facilities improvement grant for $1,763,656 from the Commonwealth Finance Authority to be used for upgrades to the HVAC for the Octorara Middle School. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Action item C passes. Action item D, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the resolution to request a public school facilities improvement grant for $4,332,721. Why is that so awkward to say?
Say
Thousand. You just, yeah, you got to say thousand. Yeah, it just seems odd. Sorry, from Commonwealth Finance Authority to be used for electrical upgrades for the Octorara area middle school. May I get a motion? Any second? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Action item D passes. The following are the presentation items for the April 20th regular public meeting. Letter A, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the 2026-2027 Chester County Intermediate Unit Core Services budget in the amount of $50,180,724. And by the way, Jill has a copy if anybody's really bored and needs, yeah, if anybody wants to take it home. You got to sign it out and bring it back. Letter B, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the 2026-2027 Chester County Intermediate Unit Occupational Education budget in the amount of $34,574,320. Letter C, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the service agreement with Criticare effective June 28th, 2026 through June 26th, 2027. Letter D, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the legal services consultation agreement with Sweet Stevens, Katz, and Williams for professional training and consultation for special ed services during the 2026-2027 school year at a cost of $6,825. Letter E, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the standard agreement with Sweet Stevens, Katz, and Williams for special education services effective July 1st, 2026. Letter F, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the consulting agreement with Literacy Defined LLC for consulting and coaching services with regard to literacy instruction and assessment practices at a cost not to exceed $75,000. Letter G, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the use of the varsity field hockey field from 9 to 10 a.m. on Sunday, May 17th, 2026 for a field hockey clinic. I'm, as a lone holdover from a time when this policy was instituted, someone can get me for rationale for having it then. There was a policy. We have a policy. It's not even a And it's a board policy that states it has to come before the board for approval. And the reason was, and it has to be any activity that happens before 1 o'clock on a Sunday. So I just would like to know why this has to be then, so that we can vote on it with her.
We'll look into that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting, okay.
This particular clinic is Saturday morning from 9 to 10.
And Sunday. Okay, so it's a continuation. Yeah, that's all. I just want to have the discussion, because if we're not going to at least discuss it as a board, we should probably just do away with the policy if it's not, if we're just something we're just going to allow. So. Yeah. Yeah. Let's find out what the rationale is, and if that's the case, then so be it. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Letter H, that the Octorara Board of School Directors accept the anonymous donation of $5,000 in support of the 8th grade field trip in May. Thank you to whoever that was. Letter I, that the Octorara Board of School Directors accept a donation of $1,000 from the Parksburg Church's Community Outreach to Brave Haven for families in need. I just want to say this is a terrific opportunity for those two organizations to combine their services that they provide for families in need in our district. I think the school has a wonderful opportunity to be an outside or a hub for the insiders here at the school district, as opposed to the community of churches is a little extended out further. So I think the partnership is terrific. I'm glad to see it. Letter J, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the proposal to sponsor $1,500 each to Val Wakeman and Bridget Whitfield to attend the International Young Physicists Tournament in Switzerland from July 1 to 12 this summer.
Can I say something quick?
Yep.
I was able to see their draft presentations with, Doc invited several of us to attend, and I hope they knock it out of the park. It was a couple of great presentations. There were 3 that day, and just great to see them advance, and I'm very glad to see that we'll be helping to support their trip. Thanks.
All right, takes us to resignation approvals. Letter K, that the Octorara Board of School Directors accept the resignation of Ms. Mackenzie Gladfelder as a speech-language pathologist and junior high girls head basketball coach, effective the conclusion of the 25-26 school year. Letter L, that the Octorara Board of School Directors accept the resignation of Ms. Kelsey Simpkins as a speech-language pathologist, effective June 5th, 2026. Letter M, that the Octorara Board of School Directors accept the resignation of Ms. Karen Beam as an instructional assistant at the Octorara Intermediate School, effective June 5th, 2026. Letter N, that the Octorara Board of School Directors accept the resignation of Ms. Anna Torres as an instructional assistant at the PLC, effective April 10th, 2026. Hiring approvals. Letter O, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve Mr. David Moore as a custodian at a date to be determined pending completion of employee-related documents required by law and the district. Mr. Moore's salary will be $41,600 prorated, replacing employee A. Letter P, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the following staff for the Kindergarten Readiness Program, effective June 30th through July 30th, 2026, Tuesday through Thursday for 4 hours per day. Beth Patika as coordinator for $40 per hour, Mary Williams as a teacher for $35 per hour, Megan Clark as a teacher, $35 per hour, Holly Conti as a teacher for $35 per hour, Bridget Solnowski as a teacher for $35 per hour, Carlos Deval Acosta as a teacher for $32 per hour. Christy Spotto as an instructional assistant at $24 per hour, Donna Ferrier as an instructional assistant at $24 per hour, Lauren Phillips as an instructional assistant at $24 per hour, Maria Estrada as an instructional assistant at $24 per hour, and Renee Yarish as an instructional assistant at $24 per hour. Letter Q, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the following students from Animal and Plant Science Technology for the Student Educational Co-op program for 1 hour per day at a rate of $15 per hour. Madeline Mangan as an effective date to be determined, and Elizabeth Novak, effective April 2nd, 2026. Letter R, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the following game workers for the 25-26 school year: Raven McCoy, Diane Pfeiffer, Alexis Anderson, Kristen Testerman, Rachel McGinnis, and Chelsea Curry. Letter S, that the Octorara Board of School Directors approve the following supplemental contracts for the 2026-2027 school year pending completion of employee-related documents required by law in the district. Kara Pakes as a junior high assistant cross-country coach, 4 points at $620 for a total of $2,480. And Kent Buell as a girls varsity assistant soccer coach at $620 and $3,720 for a total. Which takes us to the Facilities Committee report, which I will report on. No, she's just filling Jerry's role. I'll be the chair. Mentioning that, Danielle has agreed to take Jerry's spot as the Facilities Committee member from the board. We had a presentation from Schneider Electric. We heard, obviously, about the OMS needed upgrades, the electricity, the boiler. Such, and earlier they have applied for grants to help offset the costs. We heard from EI Associates regarding feasibility study. We had an update about the Phase 2 Octorara Master Plan meetings as they fine-tune that plan. We also had an update on the PLC playground. They're working on designs with King Swings and the timing on that as it relates to additional asphalt work. We also had, for considerations for the committee, is Degler and Whiting do preventive maintenance and inspection of all the athletic backstops and bleachers and such. That's an annual requirement that we need to do. We discussed the wastewater treatment facilities operation contracts with a firm that presently operates called Predoc. They've requested a 3-year contract with no increase at the same rate that they're charging us now. And we also discussed the purchase of what they require a composite sampler for the wastewater treatment plant at a cost of, I think it was around $6,000 to do that. And that was it. Since we were all there, is there any other questions? No? Wonderful. Is there any other additional items or concerns from anyone? All right, that's time for visitors' comments for general. If you have a visitor's comment, come on down. Seeing none, that takes us to the administrator comments and announcements.
Since I was so brief in the first one, I only spent 30 minutes on administrative comments.
Yeah.
I have one, and Mr. Fox already alluded to this. Just to say congratulations to Val Wakeman and Bridget Whitfield for making it on the U.S. IYPT team. I don't think anyone really understands how difficult that actually is. We've been very fortunate to have someone from Octorara represent us on that team in each of the years that we participated. However, this year in particular, there were 50 submissions from around the United States, and we were fortunate enough, because the kids battled, to have 2 members that made it, and Val's going to be the captain for the U.S. team, which is, again, a great honor. We have some really, really smart students that are going to be on this team representing the United States. I know Dr. McWaters is excited about the possibility of competing at that level with this group that he has. So I just want to say congrats to them again, but they just were very well prepared, and I'm looking forward to see what our kids do in July.
I'm pretty sure Doc's just hoping Switzerland has air conditioning.
Yeah, he is
For
definitely
those who
open
followed along, yeah.
that Switzerland has air conditioning, yes.
Switzerland has air conditioning. All right, anyone else?
Yes, I just wanted to thank the parents that came out this evening for our assessment, PSSA and Keystone. It was a very intimate group, but it was fun, and I hope worthwhile for the parents that came.
I will just underscore again the time that our team has put together into the strategic roadmap. Again, 6 months of work, I think, culminating tonight. And I've worked in a lot of teams. I have to say this team has especially vested in continuous improvement. So I'm very thankful that we're working together, and I'm excited about our next steps.
Is there any board comments this evening? Seeing none, no, I'll announce the following meetings then prior to adjournment. We met this evening, obviously here for the Facilities Committee meeting in this room at 6 o'clock. We held an executive session for personal, legal, safety, and security prior to this meeting in room 102 down the hall. The Policy Finance Committee meeting will be held Monday, April 20th, 6 o'clock here at the multipurpose room. The next regularly scheduled board meeting will be held Monday, April 20th here as well. And the Education Committee meeting for April will be held up at the Hub, April 27th. And with that, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.